sell the bodies to the doctors together? To dig them up?
There'll be no digging. The kirkyards are too well guarded. We will, so to speak, burk them. Ray killed her.
We can't be sure of that.
I'm sure, and I mean to report it. It's like Burke and Hare all over again.
That is.
Grave robbing is one thing, but this is murder.
You ordered this subject, received it here and paid for it. That makes you a party to murder.
You must leave this house.
I can't do that. You heard McFarlane.
Save yourself, Master Fetters. Look at McFarlane.
Gray, I must be rid of you. You become a cancer, a malignant, evil cancer, rotting my mind.
You'll never get rid of me, Tony.
Hello, welcome to episode 150. Let's start the celebrations. So I've been reading up this morning. In case you haven't guessed, I've been reading up this morning on graveyards and in general, graveyards in Scotland and body snatching, and I found a bunch of cool stuff. So we're going to head down to the graveyard here and have a look, and I'm going to show you some stuff. So yes, let's just get there. I'm just round the corner just now. So just coming straight in here, there's a grave here for Lorenzo D'Agostino, and I don't know if it was him specifically, but D'Agostino, obviously an Italian name. There was a ice cream shop and tobacconists in Banchory right up until the 80s, maybe even early 90s, called D'Agostino's, and I'm just wondering if that's a relation of his. He would have come here, the prisoner of war camp at Glenadee, after the First World War maybe, and yeah, I just wonder if his family line had been here ever since. Interesting, I'll have to look that up. I might have just lied to you all, but yeah. So anyway, this is us coming down. This is like the more modern part of the graveyard. Coming into the older section here, the walled off section. So here's the watchtower. And this is basically what I was here to talk about. We're talking about body snatching. And so yeah, this is the older part, the cemetery. There used to be an exit down the back there. You can see a gate through the graves, but they've kind of locked that off now. So yeah, oh, there's some flowers here. So yes, this is the watchtower. We'll get a better view on it. So between about the 1730s and the 1830s, when the law was eventually changed, it was not illegal to remove a body from a grave, as long as you didn't take any of the possessions. Things like the clothes, mark clothes and rings and jewellery and things, as long as they were left, you couldn't actually be jailed for it. It was a fine. And Aberdeen Hospital needed bodies, obviously for learning about surgery and the human anatomy. So they would pay through the nose for recently deceased bodies, and unfortunately, people were just digging corpses up. They would go in through like the head where you imagine the top of the coffin would be, and dig a hole down, removing the body that way. Or that some would actually tunnel in from outside the graveyard, so you could imagine beyond that wall there, people tunneling under to access the coffins without people seeing. So that was the reason for the watchtower. The family of the recently deceased would actually spend the evenings here and watch out. There's a bell, I don't know if you can see, there's a bell at top left there that would be rung, and the parishioner in the church up on the hill would be notified, and they could come down and stop what was going on. But so that would have been the watchtower, and depending on how much money you had would mean there'd be various ways. I don't know if this is a mort house, but there was things called mort houses, which would be like strong buildings where bodies would be kept, and they'd basically keep them in here until decomposition was so much that they couldn't be used. You can see here 1773 maybe. There's some other stuff here that I can't really work out, but that would have been right in the time. So I don't know that this is what this is, but there certainly would have been mort houses. So yeah, what bodies would have been kept here until they were of no use to the universities, and then the funeral would be taking place. But maybe this doesn't look very strongly sealed, but maybe it is. So that was another option available to you if you didn't want to wait out you can see the bell in the tower there. If you didn't want to wait out in the evenings to watch for your bodies, you could pay for them to be interred here until the funeral. Or another thing was these, which were known as mort safes. So this was to, obviously you're not able to get your spade in there. I'm trying not to walk on people's graves here, but it's really difficult. So it was a lot more difficult to dig from over these tables. You see them in other graveyards, they're actually made of metal cages, but these ones seem to all be granite here. But yeah, so in the 1830s, a law was passed, I think it was 1832, a law was passed actually making it illegal to dig up bodies as if anybody needed to be told. But yeah, Aberdeen University, they were one of the forerunners of human surgery at that time, and they were only allowed to dissect bodies of people who'd been hanged or tried to death, and that in those times the average was about 50 to 60 people being hung every year in Aberdeenshire, and the university was using upwards of 500 bodies, so this was the only other avenue for them. And the students were all fairly wealthy, so the university could afford to charge large amounts of money for recently deceased cadavers. But if you didn't have the money to pay to work, to go to the school, that you would be enlisted or expected to provide a body or two every now and then. So that was how that worked. But yeah, here we go. This is where I don't really want to show people's names and things. I understand that they're not gonna. Yeah, I'm just trying not to show any names. But this one's 1915. This one looks more one of the newer ones here. 1871. But yeah, I just wanted to come down and have a look at these and talk about this watchtower and what I suspect is a mort house. I'm unsure. There's bars in that window there at the top. Maybe we're just looking at the old shed where they kept their wheelbarrows, but I'm unsure. But yes, that's that. Some of these are just so deteriorated But that looks really old, especially considering there's some more modern or maybe updated graves around it. And there's some that have fallen over. Don't really know what the deal is with that, do you? Try and pick them up, I don't know. This one's split, looks like it's made from slate. It's just, the front of it's just fallen right off. Gonna have another look. There's a little walled in section over here. (1841). There's a cross there. Don't know if that's supposed to hold flowers. Okay, so this is Burnett here. They're a big family in the area. I don't know if they're part of the area, but of the family, but they own the castle up the road. This is Crathis Castle in the background here. I was reading my Scottish Ghosts from the Scotsman newspaper, and I should have bookmarked the page, why didn't I? But there's a ghost in this castle, so... Or dead. But that seems to be the only grave here, unless there's one behind this. Which it's possible, I suppose. Can't really see. Yeah, this seems to be empty. Don't know what to do about that bottle. Is it supposed to be there? Some just missing grave markers altogether. There seems to be quite a mix of like older. I don't know if it's just the type of stone. Some of the stone survives better, but there seems to be a difference in about 100 years in some of these graves. Like, look at this one. Can't make out anything on these. 1922 this one is. I would have thought that would be a lot older than that. So yeah, I was reading apparently grave or body snatching, I don't know if it's necessarily grave robbing, is still a thing. Unbelievably, like Buddhist monasteries use human skulls and thigh bones in religious ceremonies. They drink wine from the skulls and use the leg bone as like a horn or something, a blowhorn it said. I don't know how much I believe that, but it's pretty wild. This thing's smashed to bits. It's pretty wild to think that human bones is still something that gets trafficked. In India, massive trade is where most of the bones come from. 1850 there, you can kind of see. But it's crazy to think that it still goes on today. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because a lot of, you know, knowledge that we have of the anatomy and medicine today wouldn't have been found if not for these people grave robbing. But you know, it obviously reached that 100 years, it just reached the a peek that something had to be done. Some of these are so worn. So, not very cheery video, I understand that, but there's a certain sort of peacefulness and, do I say dignity to graveyard, especially an older graveyard where it's like newer graves. It's quite a raw. It's quite powerful, feeling of I don't know, dread and sadness. It's actually quite busy here. There's a lot of people about. But yes, this was me reading up on Scottish graveyards. Kind of brought all this together. So. And also the town that I live, Banchory, it's about 1,500 years old, I think. And it was kind of founded here. They think it was founded around here, on the banks of the river, which is just over the wall here. So this is kind of like there's actually a cross in that church in the video I showed at the start. There's a cross. All that's left of it's like the middle section. They think that's really super old, from around the earliest beginnings of the town. So this is like the spiritual home of Banchory, and I guess it's got the spirits of Banchory are here also. Wow, what a lovely way to end this. Yeah, so we'll look at the Mort House and the Watchtower. Take it easy. We'll see you next week. Okay, just before we go, the building that I was saying with the Mort House is called the Tilquilly Vault, and it's a tomb for the Douglas family. But what was I just reading there? So the stones from the old church that they think were actually on the site of that building now were used to build that, and there is a long slab of red granite built into the southwest corner, incised with two Celtic crosses, one of which has been worn smooth. So we'll quickly go back and look for this long slab of red granite. Okay, southwest for a start. What is that? I mean, that's a long slab of red granite. Oh, here we go. You can kind of... Is there a cross there? It's really smooth. You can kind of see it at an angle. You can see that there's something there. Actually, is that an E? R, E? It's definitely, that's definitely the stone we were looking for. Cool, so 1600s maybe? Possibly older, we don't know. I should have read that thing first. But still, Mort House stuff's cool. This just ain't one. But yes, that's it guys. We'll see you next time.